The world's population and consumer markets are changing rapidly. On April 14, 2023, the United Nations announced that India is set to overtake China as the world's most populous country. At the start of the century, only the Western world could afford global brands. Now, Asia is home to over half of the world's consumers, mainly due to India and China's growing populations. Did you know that every year we buy stuff worth around $44 trillion or $1.4 million per second? China and India make up about a third of the world's population and consumer class, spending around a quarter of global consumer expenses. In comparison, India and China share many similarities that make them attractive markets for global businesses. Both countries have populations of approximately 1.4 billion people, making them the two most populous nations in the world. This year alone, they will each add approximately 30 million people to their consumer class, which represents a significant growth in potential customers for businesses. Over the past decade, both countries have experienced rapid economic growth, with annual rates ranging from 5% to 7%. This consistent growth has led many to view India as following in China's footsteps, potentially becoming the next major economic powerhouse in Asia. Despite these similarities, businesses often prefer China over India for various reasons. Let's explore these factors in detail. Number 1. Consumer market size and growth. China currently boasts the world's largest consumer market, with 899 million people in its consumer class. This is nearly double India's consumer class, which stands at 473 million. While both countries are experiencing growth in their consumer markets, China is expected to maintain its lead for at least the next 2 decades. In 2023, China's consumer class is projected to grow by 36 million people, slightly outpacing India's growth of 31 million. This continued expansion of China's already substantial consumer base makes it an attractive market for businesses looking to tap into a large and growing customer pool. Number 2. Age demographics of consumers. The age distribution of consumers in both countries presents interesting opportunities and challenges for businesses. China's consumer class has a median age of 39, indicating a more mature market with potentially higher spending power. In contrast, India's consumers are younger, with an average age of 30. By 2030, India is expected to have the largest population of young consumers under 30, reaching 357 million. This makes India the world's largest young consumer market, offering great potential for businesses targeting younger demographics. On the other hand, China is already the world's largest market for senior consumers. These demographic differences mean that by 2030, India will account for 1/5 of the global youth consumer market, while China will represent 1/4 of the senior market. This divergence in age demographics could influence the types of products and services that are successful in each market. Number 3. Urban concentration of consumers. The distribution of consumers across urban and rural areas differs significantly between China and India, impacting market accessibility for businesses. In China, about 80% of consumers live in urban areas, making it easier for companies to reach a large number of potential customers in concentrated locations. India's consumer class, however, is more spread out. Only about half of India's consumers live in cities, presenting a challenge for businesses trying to efficiently reach their target market. Looking ahead to 2030, China is expected to have 553 million people living in the cities. In comparison, India is projected to have 290 million people in such large cities. This urban concentration in China makes it more cost-effective for businesses to set up operations and distribution networks. Number 4. Skilled workforce availability. One of China's significant advantages is its large pool of skilled workers, particularly in the manufacturing sector. This abundance of skilled labor has been a key factor in China's dominance as a global manufacturing hub. India, on the other hand, faces a shortage of specialized skills crucial for advanced manufacturing. This skills gap is evident in the quality and complexity of India's top exported products and affects employers' ability to easily fill job vacancies with qualified workers. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, highlighted this advantage during a visit to China in March 2023. He explained that China's appeal for manufacturing isn't about low labor costs anymore, but rather the concentration of skilled workers and advanced tooling capabilities. Cook noted that while it might be difficult to fill a room with tooling engineers in the US, in China, you could fill multiple football fields. Number 5. Manufacturing costs and trade dynamics. Historically, China was known for its low labor costs, which attracted many manufacturing businesses. However, this is no longer the case. Labor costs in China have risen significantly over the years, and the country now competes on the basis of its skilled workforce and advanced manufacturing capabilities. The ongoing US-China trade war has introduced new complications for businesses manufacturing in China. If left unresolved, almost all goods traded between the US and China could be subject to tariffs, potentially making manufacturing in China less profitable for some companies. This situation has led some businesses to explore alternatives, with India emerging as a favorable option for some. Companies like Hasbro have announced plans to reduce their reliance on China-made products and shift some production to India. Foxconn, which manufactures products for Apple and Amazon, has already established a plant in India and plans to expand its operations there. However, many companies are still choosing to remain in China or explore options in other countries. They view India's challenges, such as the skills gap and inadequate infrastructure, as significant barriers that could hinder their success. Number 6. Logistics and infrastructure. Efficient logistics and robust infrastructure are crucial for successful manufacturing and distribution operations. In this aspect, China currently has a significant advantage over India. The World Bank publishes a Logistics Performance Index, LPI, every 2 years, ranking countries on various criteria related to logistics efficiency. In this ranking, China stands at 19th place, while India is at 38, indicating China's superior logistics capabilities. When it comes to transportation infrastructure, both countries have extensive road networks, but there are notable differences. Roads. India has a larger road network with 6.7 million kilometers compared to China's 5.2 million kilometers. However, 33% of India's roads are unpaved, which can slow down transportation and potentially damage goods in transit. Highways. China has a much more extensive highway system, with 161,000 kilometers of highways compared to India's 4,000 kilometers. This extensive highway network in China allows for faster and more efficient transportation of goods. Railways. China's railway system is the busiest in the world. In 2019, Chinese railways carried 4.389 billion tons of freight. In comparison, India's freight railways only handle about 1.4 billion tons of goods annually, which is roughly 40% of China's capacity. High-speed rail. China boasts the world's longest and most extensively used high-speed rail network, covering 42,000 kilometers by the end of 2022. This network accounts for 2/3 of the world's total high-speed railway networks. In contrast, India currently doesn't have any functioning high-speed rail lines, although there are plans to develop 8 corridors. Number 7. Efficiency in project execution. China has demonstrated a remarkable ability to execute large-scale infrastructure projects quickly and efficiently. This capability is particularly attractive to businesses that rely on fast and reliable transportation networks. India, on the other hand, often faces challenges in project execution due to bureaucratic hurdles and inefficiencies. A clear example of this is the contrast between Indonesia's collaboration with China to construct a high-speed rail line in Jakarta and India's partnership with Japan to build a similar line from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. While the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail line has been completed, India's project has faced significant delays and is still under construction. These factors collectively contribute to China's ability to facilitate robust commercial trade more effectively than India at present. Future growth and opportunities. Despite the current advantages that China holds, both countries present tremendous opportunities for growth in the coming years. By 2030, India and China together are projected to add over 500 million new consumers, accounting for 55% of the global total. Their combined annual consumer spending is expected to reach around $9 trillion, representing 42% of the global total. India's potential. While China currently leads in many aspects, India's potential shouldn't be overlooked. India's consumer class is characterized by a young population spread across different areas, offering great potential for increased consumer spending in the future. This demographic dividend could be a significant advantage for India in the long run. India's cost-effective manufacturing options also make it an attractive alternative for some businesses, especially as they look to diversify their supply chains and reduce dependence on a single country. Changing global dynamics. The ongoing tensions between the US and China have highlighted the appeal of India as a potential alternative for manufacturing. Some companies are already making moves to shift part of their production to India or other countries to mitigate risks associated with the US-China trade war. However, it's important to note that many companies are still choosing to remain in China or are exploring options in other countries besides India. The decision often depends on the specific needs of the business and the nature of their products. Infrastructure development in India. Recognizing the importance of infrastructure for economic growth, India is making efforts to improve its transportation networks. The government has approved the development of 8 corridors for high-speed rail, with construction already underway for the Mumbai-Ahmedabad corridor. However, progress on these projects is often slower than desired due to bureaucratic hurdles and inefficiencies in project execution. Overcoming these challenges will be crucial for India to enhance its appeal as a manufacturing and consumer market. China's continued commitment to manufacturing. Despite rising costs and global tensions, China continues to attract and retain manufacturing businesses. This is largely due to its advanced manufacturing capabilities, skilled workforce, and efficient infrastructure. During his visit to China in March 2023, Apple CEO Tim Cook reaffirmed the company's commitment to the Chinese market. This visit, which included meetings with high-ranking Chinese officials, underscored the importance of China in global supply chains, particularly for high-tech products. Overall, while India is growing rapidly and offers significant potential, most businesses still prefer China for now due to its larger consumer market, better infrastructure, and more skilled workforce. However, the global business landscape is evolving, and India's young population and growing economy could make it increasingly attractive in the future. Both countries will play crucial roles in the global market, and successful companies will need to navigate the opportunities and challenges that is presented by both nations.
What do you think about India? Can they ever overtake China as the world manufacturer? And do you think the world can ever decouple from China? Please leave it in the comment below. We would love to hear what you think.
Thank you so much for making it this far. If you like this video, may you kindly give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. This will really help us a lot and we owe it all to you. Thank you. And as always, stay blessed.